NBC26 News at 10 on the air right now. And the coach and the quarterback. What Aaron Rodgers says his working relationship was like with now former head coach Mike McCarthy. Then a day of donations. The money going to Shop with the Cop. Kids get to pick out presents for their family. And lame duck update. The latest from the state capitol on bills that would limit the incoming governor's power. First here, an NBC26 update. Thanks for watching. I'm John Erickson. And nearly 3 weeks after the hazmat team is called to a man's home, charges now say that that man had plans to make meth. Here's NBC26's Jennifer Naza.
Michael Anderson has 5 criminal charges against him, 3 of which are felonies. According to court documents, police responded to a domestic disturbance between Anderson and his girlfriend, Jennifer Gross, after Gross jumped out of a car and ran into their home. Court documents say police entered the home in search of Gross, which led them to Anderson and a stash of chemicals and a weapon in the basement. Police then called in a hazmat team. According to court documents, Anderson is accused of possessing these chemicals with intent to make meth, being a felon in possession of a firearm, and intimidating a victim in a domestic abuse case. Court documents say he's also charged with 2 misdemeanors of disorderly conduct and criminal damage to property in a case of domestic abuse as a repeat offender. The bond for Anderson remains set at $25,000, and his next court date is set for December 19th. Jennifer Naza, NBC 26.
A Waupaca County man is arrested, charged with sexual assault of a child. Court paperwork says police were told that Jeremy Schulke sexually assaulted 2 girls who he does know. The girl's mother got in touch with police, charges say, back in August. Newly released surveillance video shows a man attack an employee inside a Cracker Barrel in Germantown. Police are still looking for the customer who hit a 16-year-old worker. It happened on Halloween night. You can see a customer take the worker to the ground while a woman with a baby and another person look on. Police say the manager had asked the group to leave after they made some homophobic comments to the server.
So that employee just basically kind of stepped between those two to offer some assistance to the manager. That's when the customer threw that first punch.
And police are asking for anyone who might know the customer or the woman in the video to call police. We turn to a check of our weather now, and Cameron, we're getting into a real cold stretch here.
We are, John. As that colder air moves in tonight, we're seeing some patchy light snow across most of northeast Wisconsin. In fact, as you take a look outside with our live Green Bay Tower Cam, you can see that it is snowing lightly here at NBC 26. The temperature is 28, and we have west winds at around 10 to 15 miles per hour. So we go from 28 in Green Bay to 23 in Wausau to 19 in Brainerd, Minnesota. That cold air headed our way for tomorrow. Your school day forecast calls for maybe a flurry. We'll also have a few slippery spots out there tomorrow morning thanks to tonight's light snow. Temperatures will be close to 20. By the final bell, look for mid-20s with gusty winds and maybe a leftover flurry. John?
Cameron, thank you. And today, the nation pausing to say goodbye to former President George H.W. Bush. Thousands gathering to remember the nation's 41st president at the Washington National Cathedral. Here's NBC's Blaine Alexander.
After one final ride through Washington with a last look at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, President George H.W. Bush honored for his service that began long before he reached the White House.
George Herbert Walker Bush was America's last great soldier statesman.
Inside the Washington National Cathedral, a rare gathering, President Trump and all 4 living past presidents. The crowd of thousands dotted with foreign dignitaries, past and present, and friends recalling the president's trademark sense of humor.
He loved a good joke, but he never, ever could remember a punchline.
But the most touching tribute from his own son, former President George W. Bush, sharing lessons passed from one commander-in-chief to another.
He showed me what it means to be a president who serves with integrity, leads with courage, and acts with love in his heart for the citizens of our country.
Invoking his dad's own trademark phrase.
His was the brightest of 1,000 points of light.
And offering comfort for the loved ones he leaves behind.
The best father a son or daughter could have. And in our grief, let us smile knowing that Dad is hugging Robin and holding Mom's hand again.
From a family and a grateful nation, a final farewell to the 41st president. And the tributes will continue tomorrow with another public service in Houston. The late president will be laid to rest at his presidential library alongside his wife, Barbara. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
In Madison, the Republican-controlled Wisconsin Senate has now passed bills taking power away from the incoming Democratic governor and attorney general and reducing how long early voting can take place. Wisconsin Republicans worked through the night last night to muster enough votes to pass that package of lame duck proposals. Governor-elect Tony Evers speaking out today alongside Attorney General-elect Josh Kaul.
We're looking forward to making sure that the people of Wisconsin connect with the governor, the present governor, and encourage him to veto this bill.
Republicans say the bills better balance state government. Former Vice President Joe Biden is giving the strongest indication yet that he might run for president in 2020. During a book tour stop this week, Biden saying, quote, "I think I'm the most qualified person in the country to be president," unquote. Biden said the issues facing the nation today are the same ones he's been working on for a lifetime, including foreign policy and the plight of the middle class. He said his decision will be coming within the next 2 months. Well, starting next summer, the Celebrate De Pere event will be at a new location. The event will move to the Brown County Fairgrounds for Memorial Day 2019. Leaders say this will allow the event to keep hosting all the activities from past years and also continue to grow. Next year's celebration will be the 29th annual Celebrate De Pere event. University of Wisconsin Green Bay students are offering their takes on the history of the Green Bay Packers. Groups in one class got to research what they found most interesting about Packers history. Tonight they showed off what they found. The students say they were able to learn a lot about how the team and the city have evolved.
We were able to see a lot of how even Lambeau Field evolved from all of the different stadiums that they started with. For instance, they started with Hagmeister Park and then Old City Stadium, New City Stadium, which is now Lambeau Field. And around that, you can honestly see in all the maps that we analyzed that the community of Green Bay itself has really evolved.
The team and the city growing together, students say the Packers' history is particularly unique to have a franchise of this caliber in a city the size of Green Bay. And still ahead here in our NBC26 Cares Report, raising money for the Shop with the Cop program, what that money will go toward and what it means to those it helps.
How are you?
And now, your Storm Shield forecast with NBC26 Chief Meteorologist Cameron Moreland.
Well, we had seasonable high temperatures across northeast Wisconsin today in the lower 30s. And those seasonable high temperatures in the lower 30s look to be the warmest temperatures until the middle of next week. Here's a look at your 7-day temperature trend. Tomorrow, mainly in the mid-20s. We'll see highs only in the teens on Friday. We'll slowly start to warm up over the weekend, and then by the middle of next week, it looks like temperatures will rebound back up into the lower and mid-30s. Right now, we're still holding on to a couple of 30s out there. It is 30 degrees in Fond du Lac. We've got 30 in Sheboygan. Meanwhile, it's down to 21 degrees in Antigua. We've got colder air now pushing in behind an Arctic cold front. A mixture of sun and clouds across the area today, but too many clouds to enjoy the sunset this evening. A sunset which is the earliest of the entire year. This evening, the sunset at 4:12, and it will set at 4:12 for the next 8 days. The clouds that stopped us from seeing that sunset are in association with our main weather maker tonight. It's a cold front now moving across central and eastern Wisconsin. Earlier today, behind that cold front, temperatures were only in the teens and lower 20s, and that's the colder air that's going to overspread northeast Wisconsin as we head through the next several days. Now, right along and just ahead of that cold front, we've been watching some light snow and flurries. That activity is now pushing across central and eastern Wisconsin. As you saw on our live Green Bay Tower Cam, it is snowing right now in Green Bay, and many spots are actually seeing some light snow, but it's not going to last much longer. It should be coming to an end as we head into the early morning hours, and the totals are not going to be very impressive at all. Most of us will see a dusting to perhaps a half an inch by the time everything is done later on tonight. Now tomorrow behind the cold front, it's going to be colder. High temperatures will be in the mid-20s. We're going to have gusty northwest winds, so wind chills will make it feel like the single digits or teens. Besides that, we can expect a mixture of clouds and sunshine and just a couple of flurries as we head through the day. The real cold stuff doesn't get here till Friday. That's when high temperatures will be running about 15 degrees below normal for this time of year, ranging from a high of 12 in Antigo to 19 degrees in Sheboygan. So your forecast for tonight calls for some patchy light snow, and then a few flurries will linger after that. It's going to be breezy as the cold front moves through. Overnight lows around 20. Tomorrow, windy and colder, sun and clouds. We'll have that chance for a flurry. Look for high temperatures in the mid-20s. As we make our way into Friday, sunshine mixing with some clouds, maybe a flurry, breezy and cold, a high of 15. Both Friday and Saturday morning will feature low temperatures, pretty close to zero. Back up to around 20 on Saturday, mid-20s on Sunday with mostly sunny skies. We'll see an abundance of sunshine on Monday as well, and then the clouds will start to increase as we warm up as we move into next week. My 3-degree guarantee for tomorrow is 27 because I go from midnight to midnight. I'm thinking that high temperature is going to be shortly after midnight on Thursday. If I can hit that high within 3 degrees, we will donate $100 to Pillars Shelter Support Solutions in Appleton. And we did that today. I forecast 31, and the actual high temperature, just updated, 31 degrees, which means I have now hit 35 of the last 35 3-degree guarantee forecasts.
Very nice, and we saw the tree outside Lambeau there.
It's all lit up. Drove by it this evening.
Lights
Looks
on.
absolutely beautiful. Took a little longer to get them on, but they look fantastic.
All good now.
Yes.
All right, Cameron, thanks so much. And coming up here, the season of giving, and many were in the giving spirit today, raising money for the Shop with the Cop program. We'll give you a closer look at today's drive next. Well, it's the season of giving, and people were definitely in a very giving, generous spirit today during our NBC26 Shop with the Cop donation drive. NBC26's Stacey Engelbretson takes you there in tonight's NBC26 Cares.
NBC26 is teaming up with law enforcement agencies in Brown County for the 24th annual Shop with a Cop. Our day-long donation drive is a final push to collect spending money for kids in need before the big shopping day.
Hey, how are you? Good. We're taking donations for Shop with a Cop.
Some friendly and familiar faces greeted shoppers at the Bay Park Square Mall Shopco store Wednesday. Donors happy to drop dollars into the collection basket.
Did you have a great Christmas?
I mean, I can remember when I was a kid, you know, opened up Christmas presents. We didn't have a lot, and, you know, I appreciate everything. So I hope they do too, you know, I'm sure they do.
I hope it makes their heart smile like mine is right now.
The money raised will help give 180 children in need the chance to shop with a cop.
Some of these kids, that's the only gifts that are under the tree is from what this program generates.
Can't believe we just found these.
This Saturday, the elementary school children will pair up with an officer or deputy. They'll eat breakfast together and then stroll the aisles of Shopco to pick out presents.
We are Batman. You know, doing this for 17 years now, I've never had a kid say, well, I want. When they come, they have a shopping list for their little brothers, their grandma and grandpas, their moms and dads. And they really, it's amazing to see the child that you're shopping with be so generous towards their family.
After each child spends their $140 in donated money, the officers and kids wrap the gifts as a team.
A lot of times in law enforcement, we're sent to a house, a school, a situation because of a negative situation. And, you know, to get a one-on-one connection with these kids on a positive note is huge.
It's building relationships, it's doing a good thing, it's celebrating Christmas, and it's you know, it's what the season is all about.
Greg Schwinner says donating is a win-win situation.
And the police guys, they do a great job, and I think a lot of times people got to show them that we appreciate that. Sometimes that goes unnoticed. And then if it helps the kids out too for Christmas, I think that's great.
Whether it's one small bill or a $1,000 check from sponsors like Nicolet National Bank.
We're really excited to be a part of it.
Thank you very much.
Jed Bradley with De Pere Police says every amount makes a difference.
This doesn't happen unless the community gets involved. So you're really starting to see the generosity of the people in Brown County.
Each child also receives a new hat and gloves from Shopko. If you'd like to donate to Shop with a Cop, we have a link on NBC26.com. Instead of just getting by year to year, their goal is to create a large fund to keep the program going long into the future. Stacey Engebretson, NBC26.
As far as this year, Officer Bradley tells me they have raised the money they need, so thank you to everyone who donated. Today's donations do total more than $1,400. That'll be added to the more than $20,000 already collected, so thanks again. Meantime, the U.S. Marines Toys for Tots program making the holidays a little more special for area children thanks to a partnership with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Northeast Wisconsin. The Toys for Tots program provides toys for Christmas to less fortunate children all across the country. Marines and Big Brothers Big Sisters staff shop for gifts today for nearly 150 children. Those toys will be handed out at the Big Brothers Big Sisters holiday party coming up next week. Still ahead here for us, Aaron Rodgers responding to media critics and pundits. Meanwhile, what interim coach Joe Philbin thinks about leading the Packers, at least for now. That's coming up next in sports.
And now, NBC 26 Sports with Sports Director Charlie Sakaitis.
Welcome back to the show. Joe Philbin is now the interim head coach of the Green Bay Packers. Mike McCarthy has been fired. We've covered that pretty extensively over the past few days, and part of that story is Aaron Rodgers. Some in the national media, like Hall of Fame quarterback Terry Bradshaw, blames Rodgers for McCarthy getting the axe. And today, Aaron begrudgingly responded to that continuing storyline.
I don't know how many times I got to stand here and tell you, I don't feel like I need to convince anybody about Mike and I's relationship. It's a close-knit relationship. And we would finish every time that we talked, whether it's Monday afternoon up in his office or the Thursdays we used to spend in the team room, or Friday upstairs, or Saturday in the QB room, and we'd hug each other and tell each other we love each other. I mean, we had a close-knit bond. So, again, I don't need to respond to every person out there who's got an opinion. That just opens up a whole door of stuff that I don't want to be a part of.
Coach Philbin officially hosting his first practice as head man of the Packers today. He'll call plays for the first time in about 20 years on Sunday. He hasn't done that since his time at Northeastern, but as someone who's been around this organization in two separate stints, I thought one of his more interesting answers at today's press conference was to the question, what's it going to be like to be in charge of this football team for the first time?
I remember the day I came here in February of 2003, I think, and I remember when Coach Sherman was dismissed, thinking that I was going to be leaving here, and the reaction of some of my children, and when we were eating dinner, when Mike's name came across the ticker, I remember a lot of the great times I had with Coach Sherman, and a lot of the great times I had with Coach McCarthy. So it'll be a privilege, it'll be an honor to lead the team on the Lambeau Field.
Finally tonight, a bit of basketball news. The Bucks continue to be the second best team in the East, hosting the Pistons. And how about a poster early? Giannis Antetokounmpo all over Blake Griffin, hooping the harm. And then in the fourth, more from the Greek Freak going up top. There's really not a lot of ways to defend that. 89-66 Milwaukee. It just gets better for the Bucks from there. Milwaukee on to win 115-92. They're now 16-7 on the season, and they look like one of the more dynamic teams out there.
With it being so cold outside, it's nice to see that team so hot.
Absolutely.
Right now.
Sit at home, sit on the couch, watch the Bucks.
Fun to watch. Charlie, thanks so much. Speaking of the cold, just how low will we go as far as temperatures? Cameron's in again next. So the big snowstorm was a few days ago. Cameron, big is all relative, I suppose. But what's left from that? Some of the slippery ice out there.
Yes, and we're getting a nice little coating of snow on top of that. I just peeked outside, and we definitely have a dusting here at NBC 26. It's not going anywhere tonight, and that means some of the roads will be slippery tomorrow morning as you head out the door off to work and school. Temperatures will be in the upper teens to lower 20s. Look for highs only in the mid-20s tomorrow, a mixture of sun and clouds and a couple of flurries. Gusty winds will keep wind chills in the teens and single digits in some cases. It's going to stay cold right through the weekend. Lots of sunshine, though, starting on Friday, continuing into Saturday and Sunday.
Hats and gloves for the Falcons game.
Yeah.
And we can smile at the sun. Cameron, thanks so much. Thank you for watching.